Sticking with the theme of making predictions for the upcoming NHL season, today we're going to be keeping it pretty simple. I'm going to be going through all 32 NHL teams and giving you guys my picks for who I think is going to lead each team in scoring this season. As always, I want to know what you guys are thinking, so be sure to let me know what your list would look like down below in the comments. And with that being said, let's go ahead and start off with the Anaheim Ducks, and my pick is going to be Leo Carlsson. He's coming off of a season where he finished tied for third on the Ducks in scoring with 45 points in 76 games. I'm expecting another leap from him in year 3 under a new head coach in Joel Quenneville, who will hopefully allow the Ducks to have a bit more of an offensive-minded approach this season and really just allow the Ducks' talented young forwards like Leo Carlsson to play to their strengths and really unlock their offensive game. I think that there's a pretty good chance this is the season we see Leo Carlsson establish himself as the clear-cut best forward on the Ducks. Next up, we have the Boston Bruins. I'm not going to galaxy brain this one. As long as he stays healthy, David Pastrnak is going to lead the Bruins in scoring. He's coming off of his third consecutive 100-plus point season. Very impressive that he was still able to put up those kind of point totals on a bad Boston Bruins team where he didn't really get much help. He was 59 points clear of the Boston Bruins' second leading scorer this past season, which was Morgan Geekie with just 57 points. Moving on now to the Buffalo Sabres. Going to go with my first defenseman here and say that Rasmus Dahlin leads them in scoring this season. One of the absolute best and most complete defensemen in the entire NHL, and his offensive game has really exploded over the last few seasons. When you look at the last 3 seasons as a whole, the only defensemen with more points than Rasmus Dahlin during that time span are Adam Fox, Josh Morrissey, Erik Karlsson, Quinn Hughes, and Cale Makar. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Dahlin finish around a point per game this season, and if he does that, then I think there's a pretty good chance he's going to lead the Sabres in scoring. Next up, we have the Calgary Flames. I'm going to go with Matt Coronato here, a bit of a bold one. I'm sure the more popular picks would be Nazem Kadri or Jonathan Huberdeau, but I don't want to pick the most obvious one for every team because I think that would lead to a pretty boring video, so that's why I decided to go with Coronato here, who really established himself as one of the Flames' more important forwards this past season, finishing third on the team in goals with 24 and third on the team in points with 47. He's somebody that I could definitely see having a 30-plus goal, 30-plus assist kind of season in 2026, and on a team like the Calgary Flames, that very well may be good enough to lead them in scoring. Next up, we have Carolina, and I'm going to go with the obvious choice here and say Sebastian Aho leads them in scoring in 2026. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities that somebody like Seth Jarvis or newly acquired Nikolai Ehlers leads them in scoring, but I decided to go with the safe route here and take Sebastian Aho, who is one of the more consistent superstars in the NHL. He's led the Hurricanes in scoring in 7 out of his 9 NHL seasons so far. Moving on now to the Blackhawks, another obvious one here. It's going to be Connor Bedard. He has led the team in scoring in each of his first 2 seasons in the league, even though this past season he didn't really have that massive year 2 leap that a lot of people were expecting him to. He was still consistently the Blackhawks' most dangerous forward throughout the season, and for his sake, hopefully he gets a bit more help this season, because I think this past season one thing that became very clear was that all of this losing has really started to take a toll on him. Next up, we have the Avalanche. No surprise here, I am going with Nathan MacKinnon. He's coming off of his 3rd consecutive 110-plus point season, one of the absolute best players on the planet, and somebody that I'm definitely expecting to be right there at the top of the NHL in scoring this upcoming season and be in the hunt for the Art Ross Trophy and another Hart. Next up, we have the Blue Jackets. I'm going with Kirill Marchenko here. If you watched yesterday's video, then you probably already knew who I was going to say for this one, as one of my bold predictions for the 2025-26 NHL season is that Kirill Marchenko is going to finish with 90-plus points, setting a new Blue Jackets franchise record for most points by a player in a single season. Moving on now to the Dallas Stars, I'm going to go with Mikko Rantanen as my pick for their leading scorer this upcoming season. He fit like a glove in Dallas, finishing with 18 points in 20 regular season games with the Stars after the trade from Carolina, and was obviously one of the most dominant players in the postseason as he finished with 22 points in 18 games. One of the most dangerous wingers in the entire league, and definitely somebody that I'm expecting to be in that 100-point range this upcoming season. Next up, we have the Red Wings, and I'm going to go with Lucas Raymond here. This past season, he really established himself, in my opinion, as the clear-cut best offensive player on the Red Wings. It's now been 2 consecutive seasons where he's led them in scoring, and I don't expect that to change this season. He's somebody that I think has all the tools to consistently be a point-per-game scorer for the Red Wings for a very long time. Moving on now to the Oilers, no surprise here. I'm going to go with Connor McDavid. You can really just flip a coin between McDavid or Draisaitl. Either one is a great answer. This past season, Draisaitl led them in scoring with 106 points, so I figure this season it'll be McDavid's turn to lead them in scoring again. Moving on now to the back-to-back Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. With Tkachuk out to start the season, I definitely think it's either going to be Barkov or Reinhart. I decided to go with Reinhart here just because he is such a threat at all times to do damage offensively, whether it's at even strength, with the man advantage, as he's one of the best power play specialists in the entire league, and he's obviously a threat to produce offensively shorthanded as well. Just such a beast of an all-around player. Next up, we have the Kings. A bit of a bolder pick here, I guess you could say, as I'm going with Quentin Byfield to lead them in scoring this season. He's really came into his own over these last few seasons and has developed into a very good all-around top 6 forward. He's had back-to-back 20-plus goal, 50-plus point seasons. I think it's only a matter of time before he takes another leap and becomes a guy that can consistently be in that point per game range for the LA Kings. Next up, we have the Wild. Pretty obvious one here. I'm going with Kirill Kaprizov. This past season, he missed half of the season with an injury, and yet he was still third on the Wild in scoring. He is a beast, one of the absolute best players in the league. As long as he stays relatively healthy, he should lead the Wild in scoring by a pretty wide margin. Moving on now to the Canadiens, another kind of bold one here. I'm going with a rookie. I'm going to say Ivan Demidov leads them in scoring in his rookie season. A little spoiler alert for my award predictions video whenever that ends up coming out. Ivan Demidov is my pick for the Calder in 2026. We've already gotten a little glimpse of him at the NHL level. It was a very small sample size, but what he showed at the end of the regular season and in the playoffs was that his game is going to translate to the NHL just fine. He's likely going to have a very prominent role for the Canadiens this upcoming season as a staple in their top 6 and on the power play. He's the kind of player that I think is capable of having a 70 to 80 point rookie season. Next up, we have the Predators, and I'm going to go with another defenseman here and say that Roman Josi leads them in scoring in 2026. He's coming off of a pretty rough season that was riddled by injuries. Obviously, the Predators weren't a great team, but he's still just one season removed from finishing over a point per game. He's had a season in the past where he's almost reached the 100-point mark. When he's at his best and when he's healthy, we know he's capable of being one of the best offensive defensemen in the entire league. And at 35 years old, I still think Josi has at least 1 or 2 huge offensive seasons left in the tank. Moving on now to the New Jersey Devils, I'm going to go with Jack Hughes as my pick to lead them in scoring in 2026. Obviously, he's coming off of a season that was cut short due to a pretty brutal injury, an injury that I really think put any hopes the Devils had of going on a deep playoff run to rest. It has now been back-to-back seasons where Jack Hughes has only managed to appear in 62 regular season games. He is such an important player for this Devils team. If they want to get to where they want to go this upcoming season, he's got to stay healthy, and if he does, he's the kind of player that I definitely think he's capable of having a 100-plus point season. Next up, we have the Islanders, and I'm going to go with another player here who had their season cut short due to an injury, and that is Matt Barzal. He only appeared in 30 games for the Islanders this past season. He finished with 20 points in those 30 games. When he's in the lineup, he is clearly the Islanders' most dynamic offensive player. He's one of the better playmakers in the entire NHL. If he can stay healthy this season, he should easily lead the Islanders in scoring. Next up, we have the New York Rangers. This is an obvious one. I'm going with Artemi Panarin. He has led the Rangers in scoring every single season since he's joined the team. He's one of the best wingers in the entire NHL, and I really don't think he has a whole lot of competition for this spot, barring an injury. Next up, we have the Ottawa Senators, and I'm going to go with Tim Stützle here. He's led them in scoring in 2 out of the last 3 seasons. He is as dynamic as it gets when it comes to an offensive talent. He's very explosive, lethal in transition, and I really think it's only a matter of time before he has a 100-point season. Moving on now to the Flyers. Konechny has led them in scoring in each of the last 4 seasons. I think that changes this year, though. I'm going with Matvei Michkov to lead them in scoring in 2026. He's coming off of a very promising rookie season where he led the Flyers in goals with 26 and finished tied for second in the entire league among rookies in scoring with Macklin Celebrini. The only rookie that had more points than Michkov this past season was Lane Hudson, who won the Calder. I really don't think Michkov is the kind of player who's going to struggle with a sophomore slump. He's just too damn good. I'm expecting a big leap from him in year 2, and I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes around a point per game. Next up, we have the Penguins. I'm not going to overthink this one. It's going to be Sidney Crosby. He's put up 90-plus points now for 3 consecutive seasons. This past season, he just set a new NHL record for the most NHL seasons, averaging over a point per game with 20, and I expect him to make it a 21st this upcoming season. Moving on now to the San Jose Sharks, I am definitely going with Max Macklin Celebrini here. He led the Sharks in scoring this past season with 63 points, despite the fact that he missed 12 games. As a whole, he put together one of the better rookie seasons by an 18-year-old that we have seen in the NHL in the last 30 or so years. The only other two active NHL players who had a higher points per game in the NHL as an 18-year-old are Crosby and McDavid. And similar to what I said about Matvei Michkov, I don't think Celebrini's somebody we have to worry about going through a sophomore slump. He's just too damn good, and I actually think there's a pretty good chance we could see Macklin Celebrini establish himself as one of the best players in the NHL already in just his sophomore season. Moving on now to the Kraken. This is another one that's more on the bold side. I'm going to say Shane Wright, their 4th overall selection from 2022, leads them in scoring this upcoming season. He's coming off of a very strong season where he finished with 19 goals and 44 total points. Those 44 points were good enough to put him 4th on the team in scoring, despite the fact that for the most part, he played bottom 6 minutes throughout the whole season. He's somebody that I definitely think has earned the opportunity to play up in the lineup a little bit and get a look at a more prominent role, and I think he will this season, especially if a guy like Jared McCann ends up getting moved at some point. Moving on now to the St. Louis Blues. This is a pretty easy one for me. I'm definitely going with Robert Thomas. Similar to what I said about Matt Barzal, Robert Thomas is one of the best playmakers in the entire league. The Blues offense really runs through him. He's now had back-to-back seasons finishing with 80+ points. Jordan Kyrou is definitely somebody who I think can give Robert Thomas a run for his money. I think Kyrou probably ends up leading the Blues in goals. He's more of the finisher, but when it comes to total points, give me Robert Thomas. Next up, we have the Tampa Bay Lightning. Gonna go with the boring answer here, but it's gotta be Nikita Kucherov, one of the most dominant offensive players in the entire league. He has led the league in scoring, winning the Art Ross Trophy now in back-to-back seasons, and he should be right up there in contention to do it again this upcoming season as long as he stays healthy. Moving on now to the Maple Leafs. With Mitch Marner gone, I definitely think that leaves Austin Matthews as the most likely candidate to lead the Maple Leafs in scoring. He had a bit of a down year for his standards, finishing with just 33 goals in 67 games, which is still very good, but for somebody like Matthews, who is only 1 year removed from almost scoring 70, you want a little bit more than that. So I'm expecting a huge season from Austin Matthews. I think he could come into the year with a bit of a chip on his shoulder with how the playoffs ended and Mitch Marner leaving, and the fact that he was ranked just the 7th best center in the league by the NHL Network. Moving on now to Utah. Another obvious answer here. I'm going with Clayton Keller, who I think is one of the more underrated superstars in the entire league. He's led Utah/Arizona in scoring in each of the last 4 seasons. He's coming off of a season where he put up a career-high 90 points, which was 25 points clear of Utah's second highest leading scorer, who was Logan Cooley with 65 points. Hopefully Keller gets a little bit more help this season because depth scoring was definitely a bit of an issue for Utah, and I think he probably will, especially after the addition of someone like JJ Peterka and guys like Cooley and Guenther just getting better. Moving on now to the Canucks. I'm going with Elias Pettersson. I'm still a big believer in him, even though he's coming off of the worst season of his entire career, where he finished with just 45 points in 64 games. The rift in the locker room between him and JT Miller, all of those off-ice distractions definitely played a factor in Pettersson's poor play, but those distractions are now a thing of the past. JT Miller is in New York. Rick Tocchet is in Philadelphia. It is time for Pettersson to get back to being an $11+ million player, and I think he will. Moving on now to the Golden Knights. I'm going to go with Mitch Marner here, who's coming off of a career year where he finished with 100+ points for the first time in his career. One of the best all-around wingers in the NHL, and I think him and Jack Eichel should be one of the best duos in the entire NHL, just like Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner were, at least in the regular season. Next up, we have the Washington Capitals, and I'm going to say Dylan Strome leads them in scoring in 2026. This guy just continues to get better year after year as a member of the Capitals. What an addition he has turned out to be for them. Was absolutely lethal as a facilitator this past season for the Capitals with the man advantage, as 25 of his 53 total assists came with the man advantage. Has a really good set of hands in and around the net, and as a whole just has a really well-rounded offensive game. And now finally finishing up the video with the Winnipeg Jets, I'm going with Kyle Connor as my pick to lead them in scoring in 2026. He's coming off of a career year, 41 goals, 97 points. One of the most consistent goal scorers in the entire league. He's lethal off the rush, and it's also a contract year for Kyle Connor, so I imagine he's going to want to have the best season of his career to secure the best contract possible. That is unless he signs an extension with Winnipeg before the season starts or mid-season. So that is going to wrap up today's video, giving you guys my predictions for who I think is going to lead every NHL team in scoring this season. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I always want to know what you guys are thinking, so be sure to let me know what your list would look like down below in the comments. And if you made it all this way to the end of the video and you ended up enjoying yourself, please remember to leave a like. It's the best way to let me know that you enjoyed, and it does help out the videos a ton. And most importantly, if this was your first time checking out the channel and you want more NHL content just like this all year long, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will talk to you all again soon.